Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the June 27th of 2024 meeting of the Village of Pinehurst Historic Preservation Commission. The purpose of this commission is to decide applications for certificates of appropriateness for new construction or major work within the Pinehurst Historic District, and to do so by conducting hearings and making findings of fact when such applications come before us. By law, the Commission is directed to take no action except to prevent construction or alterations that would be incongruous with the special character of the Historic District. My name is Richard Vincent. I'm the chair of the Commission, and I ask each commissioner, starting from my far left, to state his or her name for the record.
Justin Bramlage.
Kara Mathis.
David Herring. Bill Iverson.
Angelique Fabiani is not here, but we do have a quorum, so we can proceed with tonight's meeting. Also present from staff, not everyone, I think only Michael from staff is going to speak tonight, but we have Shelby Groh, Maria Carpenter, Pamela Graham in the audience, and Michael Mandeville to my left. First order of business this afternoon is to review and approve the minutes of our last meeting. All commissioners have been provided with copies of the draft minutes from that meeting. Does any commissioner have, I see Mr. Herring, any changes to suggest?
Page 4.
Okay.
Second to last paragraph. Sort of the middle line says glass panes, there will be an interior between the lights of glass. I think the word Munton goes in there.
I know David's keen eye for detail. I'm going to know better than to disagree with him there. You got that? Okay. Any other changes? Okay, seeing none, is there any commissioner who would be willing to make a motion to approve last meeting's minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Kara Mathis and second from David Herring. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Okay. May I now have a motion to move into the public hearing?
Make a motion to move into the public hearing.
Thank you, Justin. Second from Joe. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Okay. We are now in the public hearing. This is a quasi-judicial hearing. That means that anyone desiring to testify must be sworn in first, and the commission is required to consider only the facts presented in this hearing. Proceedings are also videotaped, so anyone who plans on speaking, I'll bring you in and remind you again, but if you could speak as clearly as you can so the microphones can pick you up, because we do capture all of this on video and audio. I'll ask all the commissioners if they have visited the two sites on the docket today, and also whether they've had any ex parte communications with respect to any of the cases that we'll be considering today. I'll start with you, Justin.
Visited both, no ex parte communication.
Thank you. Visited both, no ex parte communication.
Visited both, no ex parte communication.
Visited both, no communication.
Both, no communication.
Okay. In each case that the commission will hear this afternoon, staff will first present a summary of the application, the staff's evaluation of the extent to which the application complies with our commission standards for such an application, or whether it raises any issues that require further information. The staff's comments on the application, as well as, when appropriate, the staff's recommendations for the commission's actions. The application and its supporting documents, as well as the staff's detailed report, will then be entered into the record. Commissioners will then have an opportunity to question staff about the report and the testimony. Next, the applicant or the applicant's representatives will have an opportunity to provide any additional information supporting the application and to address any questions or issues identified in staff testimony. Commissioners will then have an opportunity to question the applicant witnesses. After the applicant's presentation, if there is any member of the public who wishes to present any evidence either in support or in opposition to the application, they'll have the chance to come forward at that time and identify themselves. I will swear you in, give you an opportunity to present, and provide any reasons why you believe that the application should be granted or either denied. Please remember, the Commission is interested only in facts that will help us decide whether the proposed work would be congruous with the special character of the Pinehurst Historic District. I'm going to say that again for everyone. The commission is interested in the facts that will help us decide whether the proposed work would be congruous with the special character of the Pinehurst Historic District. As chair, I have the right to exclude testimony that isn't relevant to that subject, but I'm also not required to do so. Commissioners will then have an opportunity to question you about your testimony. If the applicant or staff wishes to respond to the testimony, I will permit them to do so. And I will now go ahead and swear the members of staff in that will speak. I think it's only Michael. I'm going to have you stand, if you don't mind. Pamela, swear you in as well? Okay. Do you both, raise your right hand, do you both swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give to the commission with respect to all the cases on our docket today shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you. Okay, we can now move on to our first case. Michael, take it away.
Good evening, everybody. So our first case is going to be for a new single-family residential dwelling. This is located at 140 Seville Row. The applicant is Fernando Silva, LLC, and the owners are Jason and Julie Leeds. The purpose of this public hearing is to consider a request for a major certificate of appropriateness within the Pinehurst Historic District for a new single-family dwelling, pool, and fence at 140 Seville Row. The property is identified as Moore County PID number 202-10131. So the applicant requests a certificate of appropriateness for a new single-family dwelling, pool, and fence at 140 Seville Row, identified as Moore County PID 202-10131. The property is currently vacant and is plus or minus 0.8 acres in size. The applicant proposes to build a 5,096 heated square foot, two-story single-family dwelling with garage, covered front and rear porches, attached pool house, a pool, a driveway, and walkways. This is considered major work because of new construction or additions not considered to be minor work. As you can see, here's the location map and the adjacent property owners that were noticed, and they were noticed in accordance with the Pinehurst Development Ordinance and North Carolina General Statute 160D-406. As you see here, here's the site plan. This is the front of the house, and here's the footprint. Oh, we got cut off. So you can mostly see it. We got cut off. The tree plan got cut out, but as you can see, right here's the landscaping plan, and here's the tree plan. And as you see, the tree plan, the green are the ones to be removed, and the red are the ones to stay. Here are the side, front, and rear elevations, as well as the theater room that's being proposed. Here are some of the materials. You can see the architectural shingles, the brick siding, the stone siding. There'll be hardy shingle siding, and there's the color of it, and there will be hardy smooth siding, and that's the iron ore color as well. Here are the windows. They will be Pella casement aluminum clad windows with the iron ore. There'll be a mahogany front door. Sorry, my screen went out. There is the fence that will go around the pool. There's the wood shutters that will be the iron ore color as well, and a aluminum garage door with the same iron ore color. The applicant has submitted an application and provided additional documents in an attempt to satisfy the burden of proof. The commission will need to determine if the construction of a new single-family dwelling is congruous with the historic district and meets the historic district standards. At this time, the staff would like to submit the following into the record: staff report with attachments and exhibits, the presentation, as well as the application and applicant's materials and exhibits. And that's it for me, and I will take any questions if you have any.
Michael, without objection, the materials referred to by staff are admitted to the record. Fellow commissioners, any questions for staff on the application?
I do. Slow computer, sorry. Catch up. I don't. I'm good, thanks.
Can I, just point of clarification, there's nothing in the standards about how close the driveway is to the property line?
That would be, what's that?
Offside.
Okay.
Not something we would typically,
Okay.
it's more treated under
And-
setbacks and things like that, that would be handled
Yeah,
at
that will
staff
be
level.
during building review and.
Okay, so you guys have that.
But I guess on Kara's question, there's no, staff have no
Not in
issues
the-
with setbacks
so
or
the-
any,
There is,
Okay.
there is driveways addressed in the historic standards, but not that specific. It's more like color and things, yeah. Color, material, things like that.
okay, so if there are no further questions, I think the applicant's here, so, applicant is here? Okay. If you'd like to come forward, if you plan to speak, I'm going to have you stand where Ms. Graham has the microphone. I'll swear you in first. If I can have you say your first name and your last name, and then spell your last name.
Fernando Silva, Silva.
Thank you. I'm going to have you raise your right hand. I'm going to swear you in. Mr. Silva, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give to the commission with respect to this application shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. If you're more comfortable there, you can remain standing, or if you'd like to have a seat, you're welcome to do that as well. And again, we always struggle to pick up the mic, so even if you feel like you're screaming, we prefer that. Okay. So you've heard staff's application, presentation of your application. Here's your chance to add anything to it, anything that was left out.
I mean, no, not really, just a secondary color. I know the historical has their own colors, so we did submit it as secondary option. If the first one is not okay, we did submit one that was in the historical.
In the color palette.
Yes.
Okay, what was that color?
I did not get the,
Iron ore was the one that was submitted,
Yeah.
but Revere pewter would be our secondary color.
I did ask, over the last month to come with a alternative, just in case the iron ore didn't work, for the committee.
Okay, well, that's some, I'm sure there'll be some questions, we can address that, but that alternative color is not in our application, but from what I hear, the applicant is asking if we would consider that today in today's meeting as an alternative.
I mean, they would prefer iron ore.
Okay. Okay,
And this is just a backup, just in case that's not
got it.
good for the,
This is Revere pewter? Or
I haven't seen that color.
Okay.
Okay, anything else you'd like to add to the application?
And then the window color is the trim, the siding would be Revere pewter, and the window itself would be portobello. And those are the two only outside colors that doesn't hit, per the historical.
Okay.
So,
Okay, nothing else from the applicant. Are there any commissioners, I'm assuming David, and sure others, that have questions for the applicant?
Few simple questions, just make sure we know what you're submitting. On the application, exhibit number A 2.2, which shows the plan of the house, in the golf bar area, it appears there are a pair of, the question is, are they bifold doors? Are they casements? On the elevation, they look like windows, not doors. On the floor plan, they look like doors and not windows.
On the golf room? On the golf room?
Yes.
Have the exhibit, David?
So those are bifold windows,
They're windows.
yes.
Next question. A really slow computer. On Exhibit A 2.4, left side elevation. There's a small gabled extension on the end of the big gable. It has two square windows that flank something. Is that just a big picture window without any muntins?
That's going to be the master. Where the tub is.
What kind of window is that? Is it a window first,
Yeah, it is a window.
but no muntins?
No.
So the rest of the house has all muntin windows, except for the 4 casements in the golf room we just spoke of. But that one lone window, no muntins.
No. It's going to have a film on it for privacy.
A
This is-
film.
Yeah, like a film. It's going to be like frost. The glass is going to be frost for privacy for the tub.
Frosted. Like a vinyl applique?
No, it already comes in the finish of the glass.
So it really is frosted.
Yes.
Getting there, sorry. On Exhibit A 2.10, which is the site plan showing which trees are to be removed, can you tell me why you're removing 15 of 16 trees in the backyard?
To work the elevation with the pool. That was another thing that we went back and forth with trees, trying to replace whatever we removed, replace it with, with something that was compatible to removing the trees, because they didn't want it such a massive trees back there because of the pool.
Well, none of these trees that I'm speaking of that are in green are anywhere near the pool.
Elevation for the grading.
Do you have a grading plan?
Michael, can we go to, whatever, this is 2.10?
Sorry. We're looking at, apologize. I was looking for
It
something.
looks like the grading plan that's on that particular sheet are the existing grades. It looks like there's 82 feet, roughly speaking, more than 82 feet from the back property line to the pool, which contains, even outside the building setback line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, at least 11 trees. Probably 40, 50 feet from the pool.
Yeah.
The reason I bring this up is part of our charge is to try to maintain the existing tree canopy as viewed from the front of the house.
Understand.
Some of these trees are quite large, which will contribute to the tree canopy viewed from the street, and we're trying to preserve that as much as we can.
Okay.
But I need you to give me a good reason why you want to cut all those down.
They just wanted to open up the backyard and try to grade everything out as much as possible. I'm sure they're not against keeping them if that's what, the board wants. Again, this is just what they want.
Okay,
So I'm
what
sure
we
they're
want to
not.
do is, we're going to have to vote here shortly. And we want to know what you want, so we can vote it up or down based on what you tell us you want to do.
What I want is what the board wants. I mean, I'm here to play, play media. I'm just submitting in what my client wants, Obviously, if we got to not remove trees on the back, then we just tell them we don't have to, remove them trees on the back. That's my goal, to be able just to get it submitted in and get a happy medium between.
Understood.
So,
Yeah, just on that, David, I mean, what's in front of us to vote on is in front of us. So unless there's modifications or conditions we're going to place, I will say, I did actually walk this property, and I've walked it years ago. I remember when I first moved here 8 years ago, there was maybe one house out here, and it's nice to see it developed over the years. But for most of the lots out here, I would, not completely clear cut, but I would say the amount of trees that this application has left is more than some of the other newer construction houses that have been built in here. There's several trees that are growing that the canopies are touching, where you can see they're so close together that one or two of the trees are not growing in a healthy way because they're just on top of each other. I'm not saying that's all the trees. The ones on the eastern property line right at the bottom, there's more spacing on those trees, but some of the others surrounding the pool, some of those trees truly are on top of each other, and I can understand why you'd want some of those to go. So,
Understood. That's all I got.
question on the square, you have, we don't really, my question is not from the square footage of the house, but it's more on scale. So it's about 5,100 square feet heated, but it looks like you're closer to 62 or 63 under roof?
Correct.
Does that feel correct?
correct.
Okay. And you had, the garage is heated or not heated? Not heated, okay. So that's why it kept under there at 5,100, got it. Okay. Question on the shutters. We like the detail. We're huge fans for operating shutters, whether they fit perfectly and encapsulate the window if they can close, but if they're on hinges and things like that. I see you got the shutter dog detail there on the hardware. Are there going to be hinges? Is this going to be a movable, operable shutter? Or is it fixed to the building?
Correct. They're going to be workable.
On a hinge?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make my colleague very happy over there.
Right answer.
That bought you one tree being removed right there.
Right direction. I
Yeah,
should say.
let's keep going. We'll figure it out.
I actually do have some more questions.
Yeah, go for it.
Could you tell us a little about your windows? In particular, what kind of muntin?
They're casements, they're, the Pella, they're,
Can I help you a little bit?
Yeah.
Are the muntins outboard of the glass?
yes.
Right answer again. That's two trees. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Joe, any questions?
I
Garrett?
had a question about trees, but he covered the trees pretty thoroughly.
Okay. If there are no more questions for the applicant. Oh,
Sorry, could we just talk the color real quick?
yeah, absolutely.
Because iron ore and Riviera pewter
Are not
are
the same.
not the same at all. One's very dark, one's very light. My wife's favorite color is Riviera pewter, so I'm very familiar with that color. Is there an issue with iron ore as a color, given that it's not on the color palette?
I don't have an
Something
issue
we
with
can
it.
vote on, or we can discuss after.
Yeah. If you want to ask that to the applicant, now would be the time to direct it to the applicant. And yeah.
I don't think I have a question, given that the desire is the iron ore, right? The Riviera pewter is, if we vote down iron ore, you have an alternate? Okay, all right.
Was there not a color that was closer to iron ore? It was just a,
The biggest problem is the brick. We having this brick, it's from Texas, so it's kind of like finding a combination with this brick, that would work. So iron ore is the color that they really want, but the secondary is, it will work. The other ones, they felt like it was not something that they wanted.
They did, you had a mock-up of what it looks like, right?
I'm going to have to swear her in.
Okay, yeah, unless, but yes,
I can.
they do have what it looks like on a mock-up, if you guys want to see it.
Yeah, I'd like to see
Let's
it.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to swear you in first. You could state your first name, spell your last name, spell your last name, and then I'll swear you in.
Hannah Hensley, Hensley.
Okay. Have you raised your right hand? If you hold the laptop in the other, Do you swear, nope, let me get to the right swearing language here. Hold on one second. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give to the commission with respect, nope. Oh, yes, with application, the whole truth, shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Thank you. Please have a seat.
I don't know how y'all want to look at this. I don't have her PowerPoint or her presentation.
The mock-up is on your computer?
Either email it in or we can pass it around. We've done that before.
You don't have any physical samples, paint chips? That's better. If-
Yeah, and again, for our benefit, we can hear you, but we'll need you to, you may be able to walk around with that microphone in your hand.
Michael, do you have a paint chip of the alternate color?
I don't. Yes, she's,
Both colors?
This is Revere Pewter. This is if we have to do Revere Pewter.
Let me ask a question we've already asked once.
Yes, sir.
Wait, David, ask it into here.
Let me ask a question we've already asked once. Is there not in the approved color palette a color that's quite close to this color?
This is our secondary option. I'm
Oh,
about to
this
pull
color.
up the first. I had a hard time. No, that's Portobello.
that's more closely to what's approved in our trim color palette. There was nothing that I could really find that was that dark and close to that in our exterior paint palette.
Is that because of the provision that says
So the
darker
application.
colors should be reserved for trim and not? Like, is there, we have excluded dark colors because of that, or there just happens to not be something close to that?
I don't 100% know the answer to that, but it seems like the dark colors were more excluded towards the trim
Yeah.
than just the full exterior. But
I know it's difficult because this isn't the whole house. The whole
there's
house isn't
a lot of
being-
this house is the stone and
Yep.
brick, so it's not a full iron ore
Yep.
house.
That was going to be my question based off the mock-up. It looks like the vast majority is actually brick, and the iron ore is not relegated, but mostly trim.
So
Where is the iron ore? Where's the siding?
It's basically on the dormers, and the trim around, like the box and and some of the casings around the windows.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really being,
Under here.
it's being used as an accent color, basically, on
Yep.
the house. I mean, the main materials are brick and stone.
It's probably 20 to 25% of the house, and then the rest of it's just between brick and stone.
Yeah. And honestly, on the stone and the brick, a lighter color would kind of go amiss. You sort of do need the contrast. So I understand it's not in our color palette, but does anyone, we can get to this, but I guess the question for us is there an issue with the actual color as seen before us in the application? If that's not the case, well, we can handle it. If it's not in our color palette, someone can make a motion and include it, so. Any other questions for the applicants?
I just have one question. The garage doors have grids in them on the like the color examples, but not in the mock-up. Are they, sorry, let me find this. Oh my gosh, I just had it. It is, on A 2.4, there aren't. Is that just, there will be?
Yeah.
Okay, that was just for mock-up purposes.
Okay, well, no more questions for the applicants. What we'll do is reach out and see if there's anyone from the public who wishes to present any evidence, either in support or in opposition to the application. Now would be your opportunity to do so and come forward. Okay, seeing none, we'll continue.
Could we close the evidentiary portion
No, I'm going to do that right now.
before you do that? could you trace for us where the fence around the pool goes?
I don't have one, but
With staff's help, I guess is the question.
So this
Maybe Mike. you can
cursor's
do
not
that.
working very well, but,
should be on the landscape plan.
Yeah, I think it's on 2.9 maybe?
Is it the crosshatched parallel lines close together about the width of a wall? Where the gate
Yes,
is?
yeah,
Okay, I got it. I'm
yeah.
good.
This thing?
I was trying to get to it, it's not working for me.
That's okay, I'm good, thanks.
Okay. So no one from the public, no more questions of the applicant. So we're going to go ahead and close the record in this case, and the commissioners will deliberate amongst ourselves.
I mean, I think my only concern is the trees too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to see stuff clear cut. I don't think it's clear cut. I think there's a plan, but I get why you'd want less from a play area particularly, but trees are so nice. And other than the color, which I'm fine with the iron ore, given that it's an accent, I don't have an issue with that.
I would agree, I'm the same.
I guess if we were trying to find some guidance, if all the green trees outside of the setback line in the backyard were preserved and all the rest of the green trees were removed, that would be a reasonable compromise.
I think that's fair. I mean, at the end of the day, there's utility that goes with having trees next to the pool, pine straw falling in, all sorts of things. Some of those trees, those are the trees that are more on top of one another. And then naturally, the trees, as you said, David, on that edge property line, that would allow for plenty of clearing in a yard or a future yard or green space behind the pool, so.
And if you wanted to save, there are pairs of trees, both of which are being removed. If you could remove only one of a pair, that would be, pick the most healthy or the biggest.
So so I can understand, so where my setback says all the green behind it keep, correct? My,
Eastern setback line, the back setback line.
right. So keep all them guys back there.
Right.
And then what about the ones forward?
Actually, let me, yeah, I closed the record, so we're not actually, that's not on you. We shouldn't be addressing you on that. This is deliberation amongst ourselves. But yes, if that's the case and other commissioners agree, I would have you state that clearly so the applicant understands what's being asked. But I think that's a good way to look at it, David.
As for the color, I'm okay with the color, even though it's outside of our palette. The brick, unfortunately, the sample brick we have a piece of here isn't one of the darker bricks, which I think helps make the argument for that out-of-palette color. It's certainly better than black. I much prefer something a little charcoalier than black.
And the paint's not a condition. The paint's in the application, so as is what we're approving, we're approving.
Right,
It's there.
that's my argument to the rest of you guys.
Yeah. Well, if there's no more, it sounds like there's an agreement on the tree, and David had a creative sort of compromise on the tree position. If there's no other deliberation, is there any commissioner that'd like to make a motion?
Okay, so we can make the motion with the condition. Okay, and then if the applicant has an issue with that, then they would come to you guys? I mean, it doesn't sound like they do, but theoretically.
Well, they could come back to us.
Okay,
And it's actually a double condition essentially on trees, right? It's trees on the eastern side of the setback and not removing a pair, be an individual? Or was the single pair just on the western side of that?
That would be my suggestion.
Okay. Just make sure my notes are right.
I'm going to make a motion that David makes the motion.
Second. All right. I move that the Historic Preservation Commission approve a certificate of appropriateness and find the proposed major work at 140 Savile Row is consistent with Historic District standards, except in the case of the, what's it called, iron ore? Iron ore paint, which we'll address in the conditions, and is deemed congruous with the Pinehurst Historic District based on the testimony given, the material submitted, and the findings of fact. Conditions to this approval include retaining all existing trees east of the rear setback line and at least one of pairs of trees, that is, trees that are very close together, between the pool and the rear setback line. Insofar as the color iron ore, it shall be included in the approval. Yeah, we don't need that.
We don't need that. The motion's fine. Clear enough.
Okay, second. Unless you weren't done. Are you?
I'm done.
Okay.
Thank God.
Okay, Mr. Herring made the motion. Is there a second, I think, from Karen Mathis?
Second.
I'll go ahead and poll the commissioners, starting from my left.
Aye, I'm good.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Congratulations, you have your COA. Thank you. Okay, we'll now hear our second and final case for the evening. Michael, whenever you're ready, feel free to take it away.
Sure. This is, I'm sorry, this mouse is giving me fits today. Hopefully new batteries will take care of that. So we have another single-family residential at 180 Seville. And you know, y'all have been down there. It's just a couple lots over. So the purpose of this public hearing is to consider a request for a major certificate of appropriateness within the Pinehurst Historic District for the construction of a new single-family dwelling at 180 Seville Row. The property is identified as Moore County PID number 20200-543. The property owners are Joni and Anthony Judd, and the applicant is Bartlett Construction, LLC. The applicant requests a certificate of appropriateness for a new single-family dwelling at 180 Seville Road. The property is, my goodness, I'm sorry, guys.
You can take your time.
Mine's doing the same thing if it helps.
At 180 Seville Road, the property is further identified as Moore County PID number 20200-543. The property is currently vacant and is plus or minus 0.99 acres in size. The applicant proposes to build a 3,966 heated square foot, one-story, single-family dwelling with garage, covered front and rear porches, driveways, and walkways. New construction or additions are not to be considered minor work. As you see, here's the public hearing notification. There are the properties that were noticed in accordance with the Pinehurst Development Ordinance and North Carolina General Statutes 160D-406. And here is a site plan of the future 180 Seville Row. There is the landscape plan. As you see, it's oriented in a different way, the other one, and this will be the front out here. There is the front and rear elevations. Right side, left side elevations. And here are some of the materials. You see the architectural shingle roof. We have some copper penny metal roof as well as copper gutters. We have some brick accents and also just some regular brick on the house. Here are the example of the windows. They will be white. Here is the front door, which will be black, and the garage door, which will be black. And here is the color of the lap siding, which will be French canvas. Here is the trim, which will be Whitehall brown. The columns will be moonlight white, and the shaker siding will be shaker beige. And I will say all of these are on our color palette. The applicant has submitted an application to provided additional documentation in an attempt to satisfy the burden of proof. The commission will need to determine if the construction of a new single-family dwelling is congruous with the historic district and meets the historic district standards. At this time, staff would like to submit the following for the record: staff report with attachments and exhibits, presentation, as well as application and the applicant's materials and exhibits. And I can take any questions if you have any.
Without objection, the materials referred to by staff are hereby submitted into the record. Thanks, Michael. Any questions for staff?
Regarding the site plans, we have two different paving plans in the package, in the application. One's on 2.8, or the applicant's application sheet 2.8 and 2.7. Which is right? One with a very circular motor court area, or the one that's not so circular?
I don't know. That'll have to be a
Thank you.
question for the applicant.
Adjacent properties, that was Pine Wild, is one of the neighbors in the notice?
Yes, I believe so, in the
Okay.
rear.
Got it. Right
Now
there,
that
yep,
big,
that corner.
and I can't read the, yeah, the big property in the rear,
Outside of the screen, got it, okay.
or to the left.
Okay, no other questions for staff? Thank you. We will now hear from the applicant, assuming that, is the applicant here? Okay. Why don't you come up? Mr. Bartlett, we'll have you swear in. First name, last name, spell your last name for the record, then I'll swear you in.
Evan Bartlett, B-A-R-T-L-E-T-T.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give to the commission with respect to this application shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please have a seat. Anyone else from the applicant's side that'll be speaking tonight? Kevin, that's addressed at you. Is there anyone else from the applicant's side that'll be talking or presenting? You don't have to. I'm just going to go ahead and swear everyone in now, and then we get it done with. Yeah. I'm going to have you state your name, last name, spell your last name for the record, please.
My name is Joni Judd, and last name is J-U-D-D.
Okay, I'm going to have you raise your right hand, and I'll swear you in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give to the commission with respect to this application shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Okay. So you heard Michael's presentation of the case. It's always helpful for us, as you saw the application before, to hear from the applicant. So anything you would like to add to staff's presentation or go beyond that, now's your chance.
No, we don't. We just appreciate the opportunity to stand before you guys. The judge are very excited about building their home, so.
We worked very hard to look like it was organically part of Pinehurst from the beginning, pulling elements from different places around the village. And so we're hoping that that's what it will look like. It's just been there forever and is a welcome part of where we will be.
Okay. Thank you. Short and sweet. I'm sure there'll be some questions from fellow commissioners.
Starting with the driveway, which one's right, 2.7 or 2.8?
So we're gonna go with the round.
Round one, 2.8.
Be
The donut.
consistent, be consistent with the site plan and the landscape plan.
Second question. Can you tell me a little bit about your windows, the Muntins?
What would you like to know? The SDLs?
Are they simulated with, with the muntins on the outside of the glass?
The SDLs.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. That's it?
You don't want to ask about the picture window on the left side elevation?
Not the owner, for our debate.
Okay.
Question on the gutters. It said copper penny as material. Is it copper or is that the color copper penny?
The color,
The color.
the color.
What is the material?
Metal.
Metal and copper penny is the color.
Get
Okay.
painted finish.
Otherwise, it gets a patina that turns green, and we want to keep it more copper like the Carolinas roof.
I won't speak to the personal opinions on that. Okay, so it's not copper material, but it's the copper finish on it painted. Okay. Okay.
Okay, and same thing with the gutter and roof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dead roofs.
Okay. Any other questions from commissioners? Quiet tonight, Joe. I'm going to start picking on you. I'm going to say, Joe's got a question over there. Okay.
Can I ask one question? The 2, 3, maybe, trees to be removed in the front of the house to the, okay, let me see. What are we at? In 2.8, you can see it, yeah. On the left-hand side. That's just so that it opens up the front of the house.
Yes.
That was it?
Yep.
I actually do have one.
Yeah.
Let me sit here long enough, I'll think of some.
They're like, close it.
On your Exhibit A 2.4, there are three gables across that elevation. Between the first and second gable, there's a group of 4 windows of some kind. Are they sliders? They don't have any muntins? Casements?
It looks like a little serving window. Right, that's the one you're talking about in the rear elevation?
Okay, I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I was trying to follow.
Okay, rear elevation.
Okay.
Between the left gable and the middle gable, there are a group of 4 windows together in a grouping.
Okay, so that's above the kitchen sink. And so I was just to keep clean sight lines.
Okay, they're casements or they're fixed?
Oh, they're casements.
Casements and no muntins, unlike every other window on the house.
And that was just preference for those guys to keep clean sight lines. The sink's right in front of that window.
Okay,
It's more of a visual. And it being on the rear, it's not seen from the road.
point.
Yeah, that was my question about Pine Wild. I mean, they kind of look into a huge wooded track back there. What my point is, from the other side, there's zero visibility back into the back of this yard. Yeah. Okay. No more questions from commissioners. That doesn't preclude David from thinking about something in 5 minutes. Let's see if there's anyone in the public. Is there any member of the public who wishes to present any evidence either in support or in opposition to this application? Now would be your opportunity to come forward. Seeing none, we'll continue to move on. Okay, so nothing from the public. One more question from Mr. Herring or more?
Question for
Yeah.
us to discuss.
Let me go ahead, if there's none more for the applicant, let me go ahead and close the record, and then we'll do the deliberations. So we'll go ahead and close the record in the case, and the commissioners can now deliberate.
Okay, starting with A 2.3, the starting of the elevations. My particular concern is summed up clearly in our standards, page 41, which has the description of preferred and not recommended building shapes regarding gables and roof slopes. The standards say traditional turn-of-the-century homes typically had simple pitch roof lines to minimize leaks, simpler roof lines contribute to a harmonious streetscape in Pinehurst and are less expensive. It's on page 41 in the little diagram. This particular elevation, or all the elevations, have a total of 8 gables on the front and side elevations, 3 more on the rear. I find that particularly troubling. Secondly, the garage, our standards say attached garages should not be prominent on the street-facing elevation, should be set behind the front facade of the preliminary structure. In this design, the garage is somewhere around 13 feet in front of the so-called front of the house. I find that particularly troubling. With regard to the trees, I can get there. They're removing every tree except 3 in the front yard. They're removing 12 and saving 3, not to mention 13 out of 18 on the balance of the site. Admittedly, some of those must go because of the footprint of the house. There are a few trees behind the house, many more in the footprint of the house and in the front yard. I'm particularly concerned about $12 to be cut down and to save 3. Resiting the house to the north could easily save many of these. Adjusting the garage as it relates to the front of the house, understanding that that will change the plan completely, would also save a few trees. I know all these things are dramatic changes, but if you take one glance at the diagram on page 41, you will understand my particular concerns. With regard to the painted copper, our standards specifically stipulate for painted finishes, it must be weathered copper, not bright copper. I certainly appreciate the owner's intent to fit in with Pinehurst, and I suggest that making some of these changes would go a long way to doing that.
I'll make a comment on the garage portion. I think because it's turned sideways, it doesn't concern me as much. I feel like the garage, the front-facing garage is less about the position of it and more about whether you can see the doors prominently. I think they've done a good job hiding it.
I would agree. I mean, the whole intent behind that is to make sure garages are screened and not visible and not a prominent feature. And I think by turning the house and what they've done here, it's in the spirit of the intent there, of what we're trying to achieve. There is a lot going on, as David said, with this roof. I think that was one of the first things that sort of took me back. I think it was hard for me to understand the style of this house. I don't know. You know, it didn't say it's not Victorian, it's not farmhouse, it's not French, but it picks up elements of a little bit of everything. So in reviewing the application over the last week, that was something I did get more comfortable with. I think if this was in downtown, in the core of the village, I would look at it very differently. But this Savile Row development is a little different. It is within this dark district, but each and every home in here is a little unique in its own way. And I think the development, not only do we have to look at these applications as it's congruous within the historic district as a whole, but in determining that, we also look at how does it relate and fit into its neighbor on the street that it's in. And I'll give an example is you can be on, take Short Road, for example. Short Road, the majority of houses on Short Road have sort of that cottagey feel. Smaller house, larger lot, detached garage. That's a common theme that may not fit well in somewhere else in the village. If you look at downtown or on the old town part of the village, Kara's neighborhood, you have larger houses. You have 5, 6, 8,000 square foot homes that would not fit on Short Road. But we look at the historic district as a whole, but in doing so, I think we need to look at the little pockets of areas in which they fit as well to make sure they're congruous within that area. And that gave me comfort on this, David, because there is a lot going on, but if you look at some of the houses in Savile Row, they've picked up some of the cross bracing, some of the ties, some of the same details, some of the stone. There's still similar elements that are picked up on other houses. But I agree with you, the roof line, there's a lot going on this roof line. This is definitely the most intricate, detailed house in Savile Row. I say that as a compliment because there's a lot going on. But it is something that maybe only could fit here, whereas within the district as a whole, we would have a lot more, me personally would have a lot more angst, saying that it was congruous and fit in with its neighbors. I do commend you on picking up themes. I can see there's I forget the name of the round bump out,
Room.
The
the
turret.
turret room. I know there's a house on the corner of Midland Road as it turns right next to Village Chapel, which is a white house and it almost looks like a little castle. It's with my daughter, and there's a turret room on that one.
And on your website, there has the
And then
turret room.
7.
So I appreciate you picking up themes and trying to fit in. There's a balance there, because sometimes you can pick up too many themes and then suddenly the sum of the parts don't fit in. We also respect that this is your dream home and it's a beautiful home and you want what you put in front of us. So I'm over wrestling, and I've gone on and on. I got comfortable with the design because of Savile Row, because of this enclave, because eclectic's not the right word, but every house is different in this neighborhood. And I think what makes this little neighborhood unique is the difference between the homes. The tree thing, I agree, David. I think I understand when trees get removed for construction. We typically understand that. It's a necessary part of development and construction. But I do think on the back of the property, there's some other ways we can mitigate and put the onus on the applicant to preserve a little more of a canopy than what they're showing removing now. That's my take. And the copper gutters, I'm with you on there. We're gonna have to address that.
Yeah, one other unfortunate thing are the number of kinds of windows. In the front elevation, most of the windows there are 4/1 double or single hung. If you go to the next elevation, it has 3 4/1 double hungs, 3 4-pane fixed, 2 4/4 double hungs, and 2 different fixed windows with muntins. On the next one, it's 2 4/1s, 1 or 6 8-pane fixed, 1 4-pane fixed, 2 sliders, or as I've learned, casements, flanking a pair of picture windows or sliders. I've learned they're all casements. The next elevation has 2 4-pane fixed, 1 4/4 double hung, 2 fixed without muntins. And there's little consistency in the aspect ratio of the various panes. Some are horizontals, some are verticals. So insofar as it's to me, it's as if every element in our very eclectic Pinehurst community has been assembled into one house.
Which makes it ultra congruous. Congruous with everything.
So on the other hand, I absolutely agree. Savile Row is a special case. I sometimes wonder why it's in the historic district at all. And for if that were the only thing, I could say, okay, it's consistent with that part of the historic district.
We addressed the mullions.
I closed the record.
Insofar as the trees, my concern really is about the front yard, not the rear. There are fewer trees in the rear. But the vast majority of the trees in the front yard are toast. If the house were shoved back 10, 20 feet, straight back, you could save, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 trees easily just by slightly adjusting the siding of the house. Being a little less rigorous with a circular driveway would save another tree or 2.
Can I just make the comment on what both of you guys said? Taking this house by itself, there is a lot going on, But when you drive around Savile Road, this and the Cedar Shake House on the corner are, in my opinion, the only houses that are like very Pinehurst. Like they are very clearly New England style. There are so many different themes going on in that neighborhood that I feel like this one would actually bring it closer to what Pinehurst is, historically and architecturally. It's just my 2 cents.
You don't have to.
Oh, yeah,
you
speak
don't have
into
to-
it.
you-
All again,
You want to
Joe.
say it for the record, so we can pick you up?
Exactly.
No, I like everything about this house. I think it fits in the neighborhood. I don't have a problem with the garage. I think there's some challenges with the lot and what they've done to fit the house into the lot. I think it makes a lot of sense, so.
I don't disagree.
My concern is still the trees. That's just, because I see what you mean, David. Like, if you just shifted it back a little, there's very few trees that would be impacted.
Yeah, remember, there's landscaping requirements that come with this that we don't touch.
Yeah.
So, there's landscaping this house is going to get tagged with, that's going to have to meet all village standards on the landscaping side that we don't get involved with. But,
Thinking, sorry, I cut you. I'm thinking my past experiences, you take some out, you're gonna replace them with some other stuff in the yard, and that's probably, I've saw the landscape plan, and it's pretty extensive in what they're doing.
yeah.
My problem with focusing on the landscape as replacements for mature pine trees doesn't cut the mustard. But to me, it's about preserving the canopy. And I just don't see a lot of preservation going on here.
Yeah, our charge is the canopy. We're concerned with removing trees that impact the canopy. That's our function, whether we agree with it or not. Question for you, Michael, on the gutters. Can you read that for us, just so we're on the same page? How do we treat that on specifically the material as it's,
Page 19, if you're looking for it. Page 19, item 5.
yeah, our standards?
So and I don't know how this works, but that's under the section changes to existing structures.
Right, but it addresses the intent of the standards for
New gu-
existing as well.
Yeah, new gutters and downs, let's see.
We do not have anything under new construction addressing the color of those
The only
metals.
thing is under the building materials and new construction, any treatment of materials that imparts a glossy or reflective finish to the material, that's only part.
Read 5.
Yeah.
Is under existing houses, but we have no section under,
That
New-
governs for our
Correct.
situation, yeah.
Right.
so this is all we have to fall back on. What's the intent of the standards? This tells me. And 5 says metal roofs are allowed, but the material must be compatible with the existing structure. The metal
Right.
must be copper, real copper, or one of the following colors, meaning painted, weathered copper color, dark brown, dark bronze, dark gray, dark green, dark silver, or black. Pretty clear.
Why that was not included is because that's under the changes to existing structures
Not new con-
section,
not
which
new
wasn't considered because it's a new build. But that's a good point. You were correct.
So, okay, so from our standards, it is compatible because it doesn't fall in the new construction section, but truly, if we're looking at the spirit and the intention behind it, on changes to additions, that would that would match. It would say it'd be a copper material or it'd be I forget the exact verbiage, but antique or weathered copper finish. Is that correct?
Yes, that's my take on the standards.
And that's the one that we deliberated over forever about whether it was
Working
weathered.
on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it fixed, but it hasn't been published yet.
Correct.
And why weathered specifically and not the bright copper?
Bright copper, the painted bright copper will be painted bright copper forever.
Yeah.
Real copper will weather eventually to like that penny in your purse, that sort of dark bronze color.
Get the oxidized patina.
Yeah.
That so many people like, but not everyone likes.
Wait long enough, it'll turn green. It's a living color.
Yeah, I understand it. I just, I actually, and I'm not in the industry, but I thought that that was a creative solution for people who want the copper color.
Is the
I
Carolina
just thought that was
Hotel
interesting.
real copper
Yeah, clearly not.
No, it's painted.
painted? Is it a
Otherwise,
weathered
wouldn't be
copper?
bright.
But
No, apparently
that's
not.
where I'm going with. Like, what's the finish on the Carolina Hotel? Do we know?
Yeah, as far as I know, it's painted to
So that's
stay
as
bright.
like
Copper finish.
consistent as you can possibly get.
Yeah.
I mean, that's iconic, so.
Okay, my question is just, so from staff's perspective, it is compatible. That it wouldn't be a condition to include it. It meets the standard as staff interprets it
It
now.
meets the new construction standard, yes.
Okay, and the only way we would be able to deny it would be if we found it incongruous within the historic district, which I think would be very, very hard.
Not sure I agree that looking around the historic district for real copper or painted copper, there are very few examples. So to suggest that a bright copper is congruous, it would be hard to find any that are bright copper.
Not
Real
even the Carolina?
Copper.
Oh, I could list several. It's the Carolina, it's the house on Beulah Hill that came before us a couple of months ago. There's several
That are not real copper.
that are copper finish, yeah. There's probably more of that than real copper because of cost. So that's why I'm saying, as much as whether you feel that way or not, we're going to have a lane in which we're going to need to stay on the gutters, is what I was questioning staff. Any other questions or deliberation amongst commissioners? Is there anyone who would like to make a motion, whether it be a straight motion or a motion with conditions?
That's Denny.
I think there's
Now,
an
let-
implied
let me-
condition of
let me-
trees,
to
which
help me-
David is.
Yeah.
Help me get some sense of what a motion might include.
Like what we're
There's
allowed
the
to.
concern about the complexity of the structure itself. There's a concern about the trees. There's a concern about the painted copper. I'm including in the complexity part the variety of windows. And there is a concern about the position of the garage. Sort of those four items
For you,
that we've discussed,
yes, okay.
that I may be critical in pointing out.
I would agree with as we said, the wrestled with the application in the beginning, but this fits in Savile Row for me. It sounds like it does for Joe. I don't necessarily think this would fit in other parts of downtown Village, but I think here, I think it's going to be personally a great addition. The copper gutters, I think we have a lane in which we have to stay in there. So that's off the table for me. I'm fine with the garage positioning, just like we talked about intent. They've done intent to screen here. They've got the radius. They've pivoted the house. For me, non-issue. Trees I can live with here. I do think there's sufficient screening around the back. I understand the cost of pushing a house down the hill, grading, all sorts of things that come with that additional concrete. That's a tall ask. It is a substantial landscaping plan. Joe, thank you for reminding us and pointing that out. I'm comfortable, but that doesn't mean everyone is.
My only, sorry, so I'm fully aligned with everything you just said. Savile Row is not downtown Pinehurst. I completely agree. Would it ever put us in a position where someone comes in to rebuild something in downtown Pinehurst and says, I want that? Beautiful home, again,
Yeah.
but like, from a congruous perspective of downtown,
I
there's a
just feel like
particular home
all
on-
of-
on
My-
Donald Ross that I'm thinking of that would not fit.
My understanding is we don't set precedent. Each case is handled on
Okay,
its own.
thank you.
On
Thank
some
you, David.
areas, yep.
Right.
Well said.
I guess because it's Savile Row, I could be persuaded on all but the trees. The trees are in my mind, clearly a violation. I think there could be some, I think it would be easy to be a little more selective, be a little more creative with the paving and the sidewalk, and just be less aggressive in cutting down the trees in the front yard.
Are there some trees, in order to move, and again, I've closed the public record, we don't typically reopen it. It's not a negotiation with applicants either, but
Make a motion to reopen.
we could. Are there some trees that you could identify that would be along property lines that would satisfy, for you at least, on the canopy side? Is that a major concern for you as well, Kara?
Mhm.
Okay. Michael, procedurally, I just have a motion to reopen the meeting, and then the applicant, we can engage with the applicant.
That's correct, yes, yeah.
Would someone like to make a motion for me to reopen the public record so we can engage with the applicant?
So moved.
Second.
First, motion made by Karen Mathis, second by David Herring. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're back in public record.
Could I suggest? It's going to be hard to do with trying to describe which tree is which.
Got time. You're the last case. There's no rush. So this will save 30 days working through this. So
Let's see, you describe it, maybe I can point
Okay,
it out
so
with the cursor.
So we're driving in the driveway, and there's a tree. As we go around the loop, we're going to run into a tree if we don't cut it down. That tree. By adjusting the size and shape of the circle, we could save that tree.
That's the one in the,
You zoom into the front yard.
it's the only tree in the donut. It's on the edge of the donut, on the inner edge of the donut.
right, almost got there. Come on, man.
Is it worth it to ask?
Let me
This one?
keep going.
That
and
one?
I'll have a
Yes.
group of trees that
This one.
we might suggest that you think otherwise about. That's the first one. There are two, if, instead of hanging left there on the loop, if we keep going toward the driveway, there are two trees on the right to be taken down. I see no reason they couldn't be saved.
Sorry, say that again, David.
The two on the right side of the proposed drive. The word drive, if you look off to the right an inch or two.
Talking
are
about these two,
trees.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, those two.
those two.
So that's
So
three
this-
trees.
This
Keep-
one and these two?
Yes. And if we keep going up that drive toward the driveway, there's one that's got to go right in the middle of the driveway. I don't see any way around that
Right
one.
there.
But the other one, a little tighter turn there might save that tree.
This one?
Yes. So that's 1, 2, 3, that's 4 trees. Okay. If we go to the walkway that goes up to the front porch, there's a tree right in the middle of the walkway. A little more organic sidewalk shape might save that tree. If we go down and to the left about 10 feet, there's another tree out in the middle of the yard. No reason to cut that one down. And there are two more northwest of that. No reason to cut those down. That would be my package.
So those three on the left-hand side are the only ones that, for me, I think, I think they would just be easy saves. Is it worth asking, though? It seems like the whole point is to get rid of all of the trees so that you can see the house clearly. Is that why all of them? Because it doesn't look like any are still standing. Maybe just that one at the far bottom and far left.
So they're willing to save, the trees, some of the trees up front. So the two on the right-hand side driveway, I think those are savable.
Okay? Are you so amending your application?
Yeah, let's work through the rest.
Yeah.
Let's work through all of them.
David.
Not a minute, I'm having a conversation right now.
Okay.
So the three to the left that you just pointed out, I think those are savable.
Okay.
The one on the far right by the garage, the one obviously in the middle of the driveway needs to come out. The one on the far left of that driveway, I think, subjective because we don't want trees too close to our concrete.
Okay?
The turn-in radius, could that be modified some? I would say yes. The one in the middle of the sidewalk, I mean, we probably could work around that, but once again,
All right, I
don't
think
want
your
roof
suggestions
structures
are great.
beside our hardscape.
Well,
You've
my
made-
only concern with the one on the walkway is that I obviously am disabled and I have a scooter I use sometimes. And for me to have access to my neighborhood, I need to be able to have my scooter go on a sidewalk that's clear. So that one would be a little more tricky, but we love trees. And so we're completely fine with what you're saying.
I
think-
understand.
I think we could
I
save
think
probably 5. would
1,
be-
2, 3, I see 6,
I'm okay with 5.
but 5 is okay too.
I see the fit. I mean,
5.
I'll take it. Close it.
But I'm.
Are you willing to-
Obviously, this is the owner. I mean,
Are you willing to amend your application for 5 trees in the front yard?
We're willing to amend those 5, yes.
Made my day.
And just remember, any tree that's 12 inches or less, they can take any time. So if there's, 12 inches or less at breast height, you can take them anytime. But if you decide to take trees after this, you're going to have to come back to us.
Over 12 inches?
Yes, over 12 inches
diameter.
diameter.
Okay, so if I could, I'm going to
Work on that section.
put reins on this a little bit. We've got 2 on the right, we've got 3 on the left.
Right.
And left.
Correct, is what he was saying. Okay,
I'd like to make a motion.
let me close the public record for the second time tonight. How about that?
Quick, before they change their mind.
The record in this case is now closed, and the commissioners will deliberate, have deliberated, and I think they're maybe ready for a motion.
I'm ready. I move the Historic Preservation Commission approve a certificate of appropriateness and find the proposed major work at 180 Savile Row consistent with the Historic District standards and is deemed congruous with the Pinehurst Historic District based on the testimony given, material submitted, and the findings of facts. The only conditions are those that we've agreed to in the meeting.
You want to say them?
Got to stay in for the record, for the sake of clarity.
Okay, and the only condition is that 5 trees originally designated to be removed shall be saved in the front yard.
Staff, is that sufficient for you to enforce?
Yes, sir.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Herring.
I'll second.
Joe was going to second, or I was going to force him to. Second by Joe. Why don't we poll everyone? Start with you, Justin, on the left.
Aye.
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 Motion approved. Congratulations, you have your COA. Thank you for working with us.
Thank you, Mr. Bartlett.
Yes.
Hard fought.
We tried.
It'll be a beautiful home. Nice addition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll invite it over for cinnamon rolls when it's done.
Oh, man.
Hey, you said that in the beginning, it would have gone a lot
Oh,
quicker.
yeah.
I should have just brought them with me.
I'm trying to get back to the PowerPoint so we can end this, but thank you, Maria.
Okay, that concludes the public hearing. I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public hearing and return to the regular commission meeting. Can I have a motion, please?
I move to adjourn the public hearing and re-enter the regular meeting.
Thank you, Justin. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Kara. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No nays. Okay, we are now on the public hearing. Regular commission meeting, I beg your pardon. Okay, we've got some minor
So yeah, we had
COAs to work
between
through.
5/18/24 till 6/21. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minors. Over that course of time, as you know, we were pretty busy last month, so we didn't see as much as usual, but we'll be, I'm sure, back at it.
Are any of the fences in the front yard?
No, I'm not sure about Linden or McCaskill. Yeah, Kim and Kelly usually do the the minors. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or something around it to.
Basically, it's not in our
Yeah.
major
It's none of
purview.
our business.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that bluntly. You got the one on Dundee squared away. You were hoping I wouldn't ask you that. I know that.
Well, I was
You are-
going to ask about
You were hiding
that.
behind the computer.
Yeah, the now blue one, I'm assuming?
The green door.
So he had a minor COA to paint the house, and he was removing a few trees, but those were in the rear yard, so those were okay. And he's replacing their picket fence.
Okay.
The front door, I did go and check it out, and I did advise him that that is not in the color palette.
Oh, it's not?
No. Our color palette is severely lacking.
Well, lime green,
No,
I
no,
don't
no,
think
no,
will
no.
make
Like-
it to the color
It's a
palette.
bright, it's like
Yeah.
a Kelly green, it's really bright. So it will be there for a couple weeks. He is ordering a new door that will be exactly like the door that's there. He just couldn't, he wants to stain it, so it'll be wood
Oh, that'd be
finish.
nice.
So he's just waiting. He said it'd be about 2 weeks till the new door comes in. He did propose one that had different windows. I told him, no, he needed to do the same, so. Or he could come visit you.
I prefer not to.
And he chose to order the same door. So
Which is about the same
Smart move.
cost. So, yeah,
So-
okay.
That'd be
it's being
nice.
taken care of.
Okay, next meeting date, 7/25/2024. Sure you all know your calendars by heart. Anyone have an issue with that? We're expecting everyone there. Joe, you're fine? Okay.
Oh, I was like, that's not the date.
Yeah, I'm good July. I will not be here August, though. The family
Okay.
wedding. I
We have
to
one
add to it.
COA.
Oh, let me see if I'll be here August, actually.
Only one?
We have one, yeah.
When's the cutoff?
Hmm?
When is the cutoff?
It was today at noon.
Oh, so there's just one. Would you like to run that meeting? I'll go on vacay.
Sure. I can read a paper. Yeah.
Work
Which
session,
revise
maybe.
the standards.
Yeah, y'all get Maria next month.
Maria,
I'm back.
we'll welcome you back with open arms. Yeah. Well, the one case helps as well. She's got that on you.
There you
It'll
go.
be nice to you.
Get back nice and easy.
Okay. I know it's summer, we'll maybe talk about a work session at the end, at the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay. If there's no other business, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Wait.
Oh.
You were talking about scheduling a work session?
I said, why don't we kick it to the next meeting to talk about scheduling a work session?
Okay. Well, I was out. My understanding was staff is now working on getting everything together.
Yeah.
And then when we have new things, I am currently working on the red line version for the changes we've already gone through.
I think we
So-
looked at August at the earliest to having a work session,
Have
is
a
what
work
we talked
session.
about last month.
Let me state it better. We're kicking the can down the road on work session. We'll talk about it at the end of July.
All right.
We'll check in with you and see how you're doing then.
And if you need some help with the red lines, just give me a buzz, I'll come over.
All right. Thank you.
Okay? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Karen Mathis, seconded by David Herring. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned.